Hello everyone, this is Shadow Libra, and today I am here to theorize about what could potentially happen after Ruin. I feel like it will be a while before we get to see the aftermath of this game, but it has been on my mind since the game came out, really. But before we get into this, don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe with notifications on, join my Discord, follow my Instagram, and my Twitter. Now, let's dive into the video. So the way Ruin ended was with Cassie, who made it to the remains of Pizzeria Simulator and found out she was lured there by an animatronic called the Mimic. Gregory tried to help Cassie escape the Mimic, but when she got to an elevator, Gregory dropped it on her to prevent the Mimic from following Cassie out of the pizzeria. But what's next? Well, for starters, I do think Cassie is alive. The end credits seem to imply that since Roxy speaks her name.
Cassie.
That would also mean Roxy survived her fight with the Mimic. Personally, I would love to have the next game be about both Cassie and Roxy. We learn in Ruin that the two have a friendship. It would be awesome if the next game could explore their friendship even further. Having Roxy be like a guardian to us in the next game would be very fun, and would probably make room for lots of cute moments between the two. What would Cassie and Roxy be doing, however? Well, it depends on the setting of the next game. I believe that the elevator Cassie was dropped in goes down to Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals. The reason I say this is because in Security Breach, the living room from Sister Location is shown to be inside the Pizzaplex. This living room is in the Afton household, which we see from the FNAF 4 minigames that the Afton household is connected to Fredbear's Family Diner. Underneath Fredbear's and Afton's house is Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals. It is possible that the Pizza Sim location is a repurposed Fredbear's. The entrance to Fredbear's in FNAF 4 is a big red door, while in Security Breach, we see the Pizza Sim entrance is also a big red door. There's also a Fredbear cutout under the Pizza Sim location, which according to the game files, this cutout is from the 70s. The scooper is also in the ending from Ruin. The floor in Ruin's scooping room looks like the one in Sister Location, and the scooper appears to have been heavily modified. However, it makes the same noise that the scooper in Sister Location did. One more thing, in Help Wanted 2, we play as a spirit underneath the Pizzaplex. Our soul wanders throughout different locations inside the Pizzaplex and the Pizza Place as well, which is under the Pizzaplex. The only other place our soul goes to that is not the Pizzaplex is Circus Baby's. I find it interesting that Circus Baby's is the only other place in Help Wanted 2 that our soul explores that is not the Pizzaplex. It's almost like Circus Baby's is somehow part of the Pizzaplex. All this really seems to imply that Circus Baby's is in fact under the Pizzaplex. So I think we found the setting for our next game, but what exactly will we be doing? Well, first, I'm sure the Mimic will still be after us, so Cassie and Roxy will likely be on the run from the Mimic. I imagine that we'd spend most of the game trying to escape Circus Baby's. We may even learn about stuff that went on down there back when the place was still in business and letting people rent animatronics. The costumes of all the Funtime animatronics should probably still be in Babies, so a cool idea I had was maybe the Mimic will wear the costumes of the Funtime characters and chase us in those. So he'd be running from the Mimic while he's dressed up as characters like Circus Baby, Ballora, Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy, and more. I'm not sure if the Vanny mask would still work or not. I'm betting no. However, in Ruin, the Vanny network goes offline when you enter the underground pizzeria. So it's unlikely it will work in Circus Baby's. However, there are still spots in the underground area where the Vanny network is online. If I'm right about Helpy being Glitch Trap, then he will likely not return in the next game since Help Wanted 2 shows Glitch Trap's end. In the new Help Wanted 2 update, Mystic Hippo tells us a message from the distant past is calling to us.
Awaits you in the distant past.
This message from the distant past ends up being Jackie, who will be the next villain in Secret of the Mimic. Steelwool's advertising for Secret of the Mimic has been that to see the future, sometimes you need to understand the past. Secret of the Mimic is going to tell us something that happened in the past, and that will likely lead into a huge plot line in Ruin's sequel. This maybe means Jackie will be in Ruin's sequel, or maybe Mexis as well. Help Wanted 2's update teased the idea of Mexis being in Secret of the Mimic. What I'm thinking is Secret of the Mimic will maybe show us the origins of Mexis, since Steelwool has confirmed Mexis is an old machine, meaning we will likely see what his purpose was in that game.
Another big question that I wanted to ask, the Mixes machine in Ruin. I'm not going to ask, like, what does Mixes stand for, because I know that's a big secret, but I've noticed, and I feel like people in the community have noticed, that it looks a lot like the
Whopper.
The Whopper machine from the 1983 movie War Games.
Yeah.
Was this intentional? And how often when creating your games do you reference back to like movies from your past?
You know, there's always good reference in other movies and television,
Right.
or images of the time periods that you're looking at. That is deliberately supposed to be an older machine. So
Okay.
the Whopper being like a good example of like, hey, here's a supercomputer, right?
But it's old.
Before computers are like this big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh God, I feel like that was a big drop.
It's like, this is not that's not a modern computer.
No, it's not.
Like, the model just is not a modern computer.
No, it's not. It's
Right.
very old.
It looks old.
Right. It does.
Looks old.
It does. And we'll leave it. We'll leave that question there. I love that.
Yeah.
It also seems like someone may have either stolen Mexis or maybe moved Mexis to a new location, judging by Mexis being in the back of a van that drives away quickly. Mexis in Ruin was what was keeping the Mimic locked up in the underground pizzeria. I'm willing to bet that in the sequel, Cassie and Roxy are going to have to find a way to reprogram Mexis so it can once again trap the Mimic and stop it from escaping. These are the likely story elements to be in Ruin's sequel. I do hope we get the sequel sometime soon, maybe a 2026 release, since 2025 will be the release of Secret of the Mimic. I really think there's a lot of potential that Secret of the Mimic and Ruin's sequel have. Scott did confirm that Steelwool had something much bigger than Secret of the Mimic currently cooking up.
And there is another game planned with Steelwool, but that's not going to be announced for a while yet. So I can't talk about that. But there is something down the pipe.
Okay.
even beyond what's being announced this week. There's something beyond, but I can't talk about that.
I'm really excited to see how this story plays out. Anyway, those are some predictions for Ruin's sequel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye, everyone.